Yeah, he's really nice, but
But I want to know more.
It's really nice.
B plus.
Are we friend zoning him? Like,
I didn't mean it like that! Hey, welcome back to my channel. This video is sponsored by Square Enix, and today I got to hang out with some friends, and we had a little discussion about Final Fantasy VII, and it was so much fun. We talked about our favorite characters, we talked about how we got into Final Fantasy VII, and most importantly, we talked about why right now is literally the best time to get into Final Fantasy VII. Be sure to answer the questions yourselves in the comments down below. And yeah, I don't want this intro to be super long, so let's get right into it.
Oh my god, everyone's here and it works! It's working! Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much, Square Enix, for sponsoring this lovely Final Fantasy VII roundtable with all of these amazing, amazing creators here with me. And we are going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII, obviously. But before we dive deep into this conversation, I want to give everybody a chance who you probably should already know to introduce themselves. I will go in the order of which we are on this screen, and I will start off. Hi, what is up? It's me, Curious Joy, and you can find me here everywhere as Curious Joy. I'll just make it quick because we have a lot to discuss. Jahara?
Hey, I'm Jahara Jade. You can find me everywhere as Jahara Jade, except YouTube is Jahara Jade Games. I'm a cosplayer and I love Final Fantasy, obviously.
Midna?
Hi there, I'm Midna Baby. You can just call me Midna. I mostly stream on twitch.tv/Midna. You can also find me on other social platforms. I'm a variety streamer. I play RPGs, JRPGs, MMOs, and so much more.
Hi, I'm Miss Kylie. You can just call me Kylie. My IGN is the same on every platform except Instagram. There's a period in between Miss and Kylie. But it's nice to meet you guys. I officially hit 10 years of streaming recently, so it's a big platform. It's really good. And yeah, you can find me playing a ton of variety games. I love MMOs. I love story games and RPGs.
Hi, I'm SarahKey, and I love a lot of JRPGs. Kingdom Hearts is my favorite. I make content on stuff like that, Final Fantasy, obviously. And you could just find me at SarahKey on YouTube and Twitch, and the SarahKey on Twitter and Instagram.
Hi, I'm Spoofy on all platforms except for Twitter, which has an extra E. I am a Final Fantasy 14 player turned Final Fantasy interested aficionado. So I am the baby here. I don't know. I only have experience with like Final Fantasy remake, not actually playing the original. So, but yeah, that's me. I'm a VTuber and I play a lot of Final Fantasy 14 and RPGs and stuff.
Awesome. And again, I know I said it before, but thanks so much, Square Enix, for sponsoring today's roundtable. It's because of you we're all here to discuss the greatest game of all time. But we're going to start off backwards from our introductions and kind of start off. Spoofy kind of already touched on it a little bit about how that she's the quote unquote new person in the realm besides Final Fantasy 14. But what got you into Final Fantasy in general?
Yeah, I mean, I can start, I guess, because I already rambled on into it, but I had definitely played like a couple Final Fantasy games growing up on my Game Boy, but I literally don't even remember what they were because I was 10 and could not comprehend a story at the time, apparently. So when I got older and started playing 14, that's when everybody was like, hey, you'd enjoy this game much more if you checked out the others and understood the references. And so I've been going back and playing some of them, but I really appreciate the remakes because it kind of lets me experience these stories with like the modern QOL that I guess I'm like kind of used to. So
Nice. Sarah?
So I got into Final Fantasy from Kingdom Hearts, actually. Like I knew that there were Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts. So that got me interested, but when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to play them. So the only Final Fantasy that my parents let me play, they got me Final Fantasy 3 for the DS. And then I just started playing a lot more older Final Fantasies as I got into streaming. And Final Fantasy VII is what actually got me to like turn-based. So, yeah.
Nice. You know who's next, Kylie.
Yeah. I want to say the first Final Fantasy game I had ever played was Final Fantasy 13. That was like my first intro into Final Fantasy, and I had never played a game like that in my life. And it wasn't until I started streaming that I started to get into other Final Fantasy games. Like Spoofy, I started with Final Fantasy 14 for streaming. That was the very first game I ever streamed on my channel and fell in love. And then the audience that came with that told me, "Oh, you should play, Final Fantasy 10. Love that. Final Fantasy 7. Love that." And now I'm here on this journey to hopefully play every Final Fantasy game on my stream.
I'm the same way. I started with Final Fantasy 13. It was just through my best friend in high school. She was getting the game, and I thought she had great taste in games, and I had no idea what Final Fantasy was. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna also buy this game because the main character looks really pretty. Um, so yeah, I had again no idea what Final Fantasy was, didn't know what turn-based stuff was because I grew up very much like a Nintendo kid, and I was very new to PlayStation and RPGs outside of Zelda. It's literally one of my favorite games now. It's probably one of the coolest combat systems. So I'm really glad that I started with that one. And then shortly after, I started playing Final Fantasy 14 because I was already into MMOs like WoW, and then I switched over. And then when I started streaming, I was mostly variety. And then I started bringing in Final Fantasy 14 content. And again, much like Kylie, people were like, hey, have you played these other titles? Which I hadn't. It was only 13 and 14. But I've now played Final Fantasy 4, 6, the original 7 after the remake, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. So now I'm like really ingrained in the Final Fantasy universe. So.
Nice. Jahara.
I mean, for me, like so many of the rest of you, I'm just like, I feel like I sound a little redundant now, but I started.
It's okay. I'll be different. Don't worry.
Right? I'm like, because it's funny because every time I mention it on stream, people are like, why are you playing these games? I'm just like, it's actually, you know what? I don't think anyone else is like this. I started by playing 14. And then I'm like, I guess we're all like this. So I started playing 14 because I was playing a different game, RPGs before, but I would always be sad when like they would end. And then my husband was like, you should play an MMO. The story just continues forever. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. And I started playing 14, fell in love, got caught up, and was like, so I hear there's like more of these. And everyone was like, girl, you have no idea. So then we started playing. So since then, I have played similar to Midna, outside of the Pixel remaster. So I've done 6, 7. I'm playing 8 right now. 9, 10, 10, 2, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Yeah, we're working our way through there.
Nice.
Dang, you're making
yeah.
progress.
A lot.
Thank you. It's been a couple of years.
Good work.
And as for me, I did not start off by playing Final Fantasy 14. I started off by playing Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I may be aging myself at this point, but I grew up with 3 older brothers at the time, and I would walk by the TV because we had one TV, and then I would walk by. I was like, what are these pixels, and why does this look very intriguing to me? And they're like, well, this is Final Fantasy, and you can't play it because you don't know how to read yet. So I definitely learned how to read so I can play Final Fantasy.
Oh.
I would never have played the game if I, didn't see it and got told to read. And I was like, I had no encouragement to read, but I want to play this game. And then from there, like I just went on, obviously not until launch because I was still young at the time, but I played all of the ones on Super Nintendo, the ones that were released in North America at the time. And then I had Final Fantasy 7 was out when I was transitioning over to homeschool. And so it was like the perfect game for me to like get into. And then after that, I started playing every single Final Fantasy on launch. But yeah, I'm the one that did not start off with 14. I have been starting from the ground up, and everyone's like, what got you into Final Fantasy? I was like, I don't know. I walked by a TV and said that one. But since we are definitely here for Final Fantasy VII, though this was not on the list of topics we were going to do, I realized we don't have any reason of what got you to actually play Remake? Because all of you all started with Final Fantasy 14 or 13. So what actually got you to say, hey, Remake looks cool, I want to get into that? So anyone can go first, and then you can go from there.
Yeah.
Everyone's like,
Okay,
we
or
know.
all at once. All at once.
Go ahead, Kylie.
Okay. Well, basically, I think I was already going to jump into Final Fantasy VII, the original, but then literally, I'm not kid you not, 1 week later, they started to announce more information about it. So I was like, wait, I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna play the remake first. Probably not the best idea, but I did it anyways. I played the remake, but that got me even more interested to play the original. So I just heard information. It was just like right time for me where I was like, oh, this game looks amazing. So I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna play remake, and then after that, I'll play the original. That's my story.
I honestly was really scared to play FF7 on stream because I just knew that it was like so beloved to so many people. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if I don't like it? And then I upset people. I don't know. I had like a whole like existential crisis. So then when the remake came out, I was like, oh hey, brand new game. There's like less pressure behind playing this. I'm gonna go play it. And yeah, it was great.
For me, and in the same vein as like Sophie, this sort of upset a few people. When I started playing like the standalone titles, and I would play just based on what people told me to play, rather than like playing in any kind of order, just based on popularity. And obviously, 7 is extremely popular. But to be honest, I didn't actually start playing video games like on my own, not just at parties, until like 2017. So everyone's like, 7, you have to play 7, and I was like, I'd like never played a game with graphics that old before. So I was like, I don't wanna. And like right when we were discussing that, remake came out, and I was like, now I'll play. Like literally it was just like, oh, okay. Well, now that like it looks beautiful, now I'll play. Just like hands up, I'm sorry.
No, I'm right there with you. I know it like upsets people, but if you don't have the nostalgia, it's harder to jump into older games.
Oh my God. Everyone's saying that they can't hear me for some reason. What happened?
Yeah, we hear
Oh
you.
my God. Okay. Fixed it.
Nice.
Oh, perfect.
Sorry.
Did you have anything else to say just before I'm like move on?
No. We'll just leave it at that. Everyone on your streams heard me. Sorry to my chat.
Midna, what about you? What made you play 7?
So I had an interest in 7 just overall because I know how beloved the game is specifically. But at the time, this was like before I started playing like the older games, because for me, I was very used to modern graphics. So yeah, kind of same reason as like Jahara, just didn't really have that appreciation or interest to go back that far because I was just so used to a certain look. But luckily, I mean, when Remake came out, I was already interested because by then I was a Square Enix and Final Fantasy fan, and I'm going to play anything that they release. And luckily, it gave me an interest to actually like start going back and experiencing the older Final Fantasy titles. And when I did eventually get to 7, I had a newfound appreciation for older graphics, and I fully understood the love behind Final Fantasy VII. And I don't regret like going into Remake first at all, because if I hadn't played Remake, I probably wouldn't have gone to the original 7. So just learning about the whole story now, I have like a newfound excitement for discovering what they're going to be adding to Rebirth. And like, I want to go and replay Remake so I can kind of pick and see like details that I probably missed the first time I played without any Final Fantasy VII knowledge. So yeah.
Nice. And Sarah?
So I have a couple of reasons, but I will say I also relate to the graphic thing. Like, I was very hesitant to play OG Final Fantasy VII. In fact, for some reason, I think I tried playing it like 3 times before I actually played it to completion. Once I got to like a certain part, which is actually the part that they cover in the demo, I was hooked. But I think I played 7 like right before Remake was either announced or came out. I honestly don't remember if it was announced or not when I played original 7. But yeah, and also like knowing that a lot of the team from Kingdom Hearts was on the Remake team made me want to play it even more because like I said, I'm like super into Kingdom Hearts. So yeah, but I have like a very similar story to everyone else. Like it made me want to go back and play a bunch of older Final Fantasies and stuff too.
Nice. And here I come being the different one. It's so interesting. Like that's the thing that I love about it. And that's the thing that I love about just Final Fantasy in general and Final Fantasy 7 Remake and soon to be Rebirth coming out is that everyone has their own reason to start playing it and found their own love for it to be able to get hooked on it. For me, I didn't have the graphics issues because at the time when the game came out, it was like the best graphics ever on the planet because it was like everything looked like that. I was like, oh my God, Square Enix actually loves to like push the envelope with their blocky hands. Like, this is so cool. I don't understand. And then it's just like, it was such an enjoyment going through the original at the time that it was without having all these wild graphics. Because you got to enjoy every single time you got to the cutscene, and every time it became even more, what it's the norm now. And so I was like, oh my God, is the part, there's a save point, something wild's gonna happen right now because there's gonna be a cutscene. And I will never forget, like in the original, like the thing that lives rent free in my head, it was just the best scene was Cloud going down on the bicycle. And the original, I was like, I like this guy, he's my favorite. But it's just really cool, and that's what the cool thing about it is that it doesn't matter when you jump into Final Fantasy or Final Fantasy 7, like there's still that love years later for the original, which is great. But the original was long ago, and Remake was a few years ago, but Rebirth is in a couple of days at this point. What is everybody most excited for? I'm gonna start off with Midna this time for Rebirth.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you chose me because I was like, gold saucer. I'm so excited for the gold saucer. I love like amusement parks and theme parks, like I'm a huge fan of just those in real life. So when I discovered like the gold saucer in like Final Fantasy 13, again, that was my first Final Fantasy experience. When I went into the gold saucer in the original, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be like the best thing when we eventually get to it in Remake because I love little mini games and it's such a nice break from the main quest. And it's just, yeah, it's nice to just feel like a kid again, especially with how the mini games go. But yeah, that's my number one thing that I'm most excited about aside from everything else that there is to be excited about.
Sarah.
Oh, that's
I'm
a
like
hard
mixing
one.
it up because I see who's talking.
It's a hard question because there's so many things to be excited about. I'll say just very briefly, my number one is Zach. I'm most excited to see Zach. But I would say I really am excited about like the new like relationship system, like how you can grow bonds with the characters, like just being able to do like side quests and stuff to get to know them better. Like outside of the original. Like I feel like the original, what they do is they like take the original and then they make it a lot more detailed. And I'm just really excited to see like all of the new personality and stuff that gets added into Rebirth and see how they do everything from the original.
Yeah, I love that stuff in games. I love when they put in some sort of like bond system with characters where you get to like specifically like build relationship with them and see their backstory as you want. Like, I don't know. It's such a nice experience. I know in like Final Fantasy 16, there were like a couple side quests where you got to like see people's backstories. And I was like, give me more.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. Yeah, I can go. I agree with the relationship system because in Remake they had something akin to it, but like my community is like huge on like no backseating and no spoilers, so nobody told me that like doing side quests or how often I interacted with characters would have any like bearing on my playthrough. And so I was really shook when things like happened that had to do with like how I acted before. And I was like, what? So like now I like that it's like really laid out for you that like you can choose about like how your relationship goes. It's going to add this lovely level of excitement and anxiety for me to be the people pleaser that I am, so that I'm 100% relationship with every single character.
Yup.
Like we're
I
all
feel
gonna
that.
be best friends, and we're all gonna go to the Gold Saucer on a single date together.
Yes, I want to
it.
date you all.
I don't know how you all can fit in the gondola, but okay, try it.
We're gonna hack the game. We're all getting on the gondola, okay? So I am really excited for that.
Kylie?
Yeah, y'all said a lot of good points. I love the relationship aspect. I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about the gold saucer, like Minna said. And like Sarah said, like there's so many things to be excited about. I'm really excited to see what no spoilers, but I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do with the story. Because I feel like this kind of change, whether I don't know what kind of changes they're gonna do. I've just heard that they're gonna change it a little bit, but that's great for both newcomers to the game as well as like veterans. I feel like it kind of makes like all the new mini games that we were talking about, and the story be kind of refreshing, as well as newcomers can kind of just like jump into this, and I don't know, like be able to experience it fresh for the like first time. Like everybody's gonna be experiencing it. But I feel like the story is what I'm looking forward to the most, as well as like being able to see like the new characters that haven't been introduced yet into Rebirth.
Yeah, I'm like all of you all combined. Plus, I'm way too excited to 100% every single piano song.
Oh,
Just spend hours and hours playing the piano mini game. Even in the demo, I sat there. I'm like, I'm not leaving this piano until I get 100% on Tifa's song. This is my mission in life. Um, but besides that, yeah, it's so many, like Kylie said, there's going to be so many different changes that people that are brand new to the series and people that aren't brand new to the series are going to be like, I have no idea what's going to happen. Of course, the people that played the original have a little bit of a leg up, but it doesn't ever like affect the experience of people it is. And like that's a really cool thing about Rebirth, is that even if you so happen to not have played Remake, you can also play Rebirth and just have a whole set story, because I think that's one of the things that they really wanted to make sure that happened, is that you can pick up and play and then eventually go back if you really wanted to. Um, Another thing that I'm really excited to see is, we already saw her a little bit in the DLC, but Vincent and Yuffie, because in the original, they were people that you could miss. And so it's nice to see that they are adding them to the main story. So I wanted to see what you all's thoughts are about that, having Vincent and Yuffie. Sarah?
okay. I had a very hard time getting Yuffie to join my party in Original 7. So I'm very excited that, you know, she's probably just gonna, I mean, I don't know, we might have to like do something maybe to like initiate her. I'm not really sure how it's gonna work, but it seems like, yeah, she's gonna join. So I'm really excited about that. And then I think the Vincent thing is even more exciting because he's very mysterious. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see them really like flesh out his character, you know?
Yeah, I think for me, there's a lot of names that I hear all the time, and I don't know who they are, and I'm so ready. like, like, I genuinely know nothing about Zach. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It'll be
Love
fun. You will hopefully soon know more about
Yes.
Zach.
I know, I'm so ready.
Well, for me, I had the fortune of finding them both like accidentally because I just like to explore everything. And I'm so excited to see them. I'm not sure how they'll be introduced, but whether or not like you had them on your team really impacted like what could happen in the story when you played the original. So I'm really curious to see if they'll include those story beats in Rebirth, and where and how, since we all know that they plan on changing the story. So like how that's going to come through, like no spoilers, hard to say things.
Yeah.
just like, just be like, just say that part because I'm so excited. Like, there's some stuff I really, Yuffie being in my party changed a lot of how I perceive the game and my overall experience. So I'm so glad that she's gonna be here in so many ways, Yuffie. But I'm most excited for Vincent also because
You doing that?
You
I know
know.
exactly what you're referring to. Jahara has a vendetta against Yuffie. No spoilers though.
She's mischievous.
And then Vincent's just seeing him even from behind in the trailer is just like the beautiful nearly 4K eye candy. It's a gift to all of us, both new and old.
That's for sure.
Yes.
I feel like I'm excited just to be able to learn more about them. It's been a bit since I've played Remake and the original, so I can vaguely remember some of their backstory. So I'd like to be able to like get more information just about them. I mean, I was lucky enough to play Final Fantasy VII, the original, on stream, so I had help to get Yuffie and Vincent. I don't know what the game would be like without them, honestly. So I hope they're more involved in the story, like you guys were saying. Like I'm really hoping that I'm really happy that they're maybe like pushing them more to be like, hey, like these are characters. They're in the game. But
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
curious to see how they're gonna integrate the characters into the main story because, yeah, coming across them is a little bit random, especially Vincent. But I don't want to like talk about anything spoiler related. But Vincent is one of the most interesting characters, I think, and the fact that he is missable in the original is kind of crazy because if you do, his backstory and stuff, he's a has a very interesting story. I mean, same with Yuffie. She has really awesome development, and I enjoyed her own story. So I'm very curious to see how they're integrating it and if they're changing it or adding more specifically to Vincent for me, though. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's always been wild to me that they were missable because I was always the person that 100% everything growing up with that stuff. So it's like, oh, you realize they're never in any of the original cutscenes, right? I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It's because they're technically like DLC. And then when Advent Children came out, it was like, who are those people? Like when it's like, wait a
I
minute.
remember a few people were like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "What do you mean, who's that?"
It's
Oh, yeah.
so funny because like I'm the total opposite. I'll like put blinders on and just walk in a straight line through a game, like and not check things sometimes. So I think I probably would have missed them if I played the original.
Yeah, I'm like that too. I usually have a more like linear experience. I've gotten better, but yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that's done very, very so you cannot miss it because like Minda
Yeah.
said, like Vincent is a very, very, very interesting character. So I can't wait. He even had his own game, Dirge of Cerberus.
Yep.
So there's a lot to
Oh.
him that I hope we get to get in Rebirth. But with characters on the topic, it's time to do something a little fun, and I say fun. Uh, with all the characters that the main roster of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we know is Cloud, Aerith, Tifa, Yuffie, Red 13, Kate Sith, and Vincent.
Yuffie Barrett.
Yes, Yuffie Barrett. Yep. And Zach. I'm also gonna add a little Jesse in there, add a little just everybody from the 7 main circle of bubble. We won't go into we'll add Sephiroth in there too. But
Oh, yeah.
we'll add a little Sephiroth in there too. I am going to list off, and again, anyone in chat or in the comments can by all means play along. This is just all for fun. Name a character, and you're gonna tell me, are they S tier, B tier, A tier, and that's it, because no one's C tier. Come on, let's be real here. It's Final Fantasy VII.
Don't murder me, chat.
All right, so number 1, Zach.
S tier.
S. S.
Triple S.
If
Oh,
you know
triple
the
S.
S tier.
The highest of tiers.
Plus, plus,
Yeah,
plus,
the
plus, plus,
highest.
plus. Yes, chat. Put it in there. Thank you. Triple S's.
Triple
S
S's.
times infinity. My 7-year-old let me know that infinity is the highest number that you can't go beyond. She said so. So
Like Jahar said.
What was your rating, Midna?
For who? Zach?
Zach.
S. Easy.
Okay. Why for you?
Well, because I played Crisis Core and I finally learned about Zach. And I don't want to talk about spoilers because there is spoilers, but S tier. Yeah. Play Crisis
Awesome.
Core.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed.
yeah.
Yes, actually, yeah. Actually do that if you have the time.
I'm so curious now. Everyone's making like funny eyes when they talk about him. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Sophie's like,
I hope you understand soon, Spoofy.
No, I'm so
Yes.
interested now. I'm like, maybe I should play Crisis Core. Everyone's making
You
these like
should.
Yes. Do
little
it.
sexy side eyes when they're talking about.
I don't play poker. I'm so sorry.
I could go on and on and on about all these characters, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't played. But like, play Crisis Core.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
very
okay.
worth it.
It enhances your experience a lot, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I relate to him a lot. That's all. Okay.
I feel that.
He's
All right.
to me, he's like the kind of character like I enjoyed. I mean, I enjoyed Final Fantasy VII and the story and Crisis Core story so much, but it was something about his character that he's like the best friend that you always want in your circle.
Yeah.
And I felt that playing the games. I just loved his personality and just what he stood for, and that's why I think he's S tier. He just made the game much more enjoyable. Like it was like a breath of fresh air every time I would play. Because I'm like, oh, I get to see Zach today for my stream.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Joy can contest. I met his voice actor and I burst into tears because that's how much he's my favorite character.
She
It
didn't
was
know.
super embarrassing.
I'm
And then I hugged him immediately. And then I was like, I'm so sorry. That was the gut reaction.
And
I'm not
that's
weird.
the beautiful thing about Caleb is that he literally exudes Zach. So when you like hear him and talk to him, he's just like, I see why you are Zach because you literally are Zach. So well, that was obvious. I had to start off with Zach.
It's the best.
So now I'm gonna go to the other side of the spectrum and just someone else randomly that popped in my head. Red 13.
This is hard because I want
Silence.
to give everyone an S.
I know. I want
wanna-
everyone to be an
okay.
S.
I give him like
Okay,
maybe a B just for now because I feel like in the original, like I don't know, I feel like there's a lot more I can learn about him. Like he's
Yeah.
a phenomenal character, and I just don't know if I got enough of that in the original.
remake.
Like and in remake, of course, because like they are fleshing out all the characters, and I think he could be like a really, really, really amazing character. We
Yeah.
just like didn't know it. We don't know it yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's how
he
I
could
feel
easily be
too.
S tier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say B as well, but mostly based on him being one of the characters in comparison that I know the least about. Currently, I mean, obviously we feel like all of the characters are adorable or hot or cute or like lovable, but like they're all amazing characters that are really fleshed out. That's why 7 is so iconic. But as far as Red being is the character I know least about, I did freak out playing Remake because I played Remake first, and I did not expect him to talk. So that was a moment for all of us. I was like, oh, okay.
I think I would give him an A just because I agree with what everyone's saying, but there is like, and I'm not going to spoil it, but there's this one scene in the original that just really stands out to me that I really like emotionally connected with. Like I just felt very invested in it. And I also just love like Cosmo Canyon and like, I don't know. So I just like associate him with that and the music and everything. So I would give him an A personally, but I mostly agree with everything. Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about him and see all of those like scenes in Rebirth.
Yeah, he definitely has as much knowledge as say another person has in the game, but he never really stood out as much as everyone's favorite flower girl. But it's will be nice to be able to see him more in the forefront, and having probably voice acting and all that stuff will help to be able to push those punches of the story, because he does have a very nice backstory and everything like that. So hopefully we see that in Rebirth. So the next one, Kate Sith.
B is the lowest we can go.
B.
Yeah, I know. I was
Just
just,
go.
I was just thinking that.
But
I
we
was just
don't
thinking
know
that.
yet. Is the tier list from the original or just remake?
This is just in
Remake?
general.
In
In
general.
general,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess.
We don't know
Just
him
in
yet
general.
in remake.
Yeah, true. We don't know him yet.
If you don't know them yet, then you can say B.
I
And
mean,
if
Y'all-
you do, then
Yeah.
whatever.
Very unique character. Definitely unique.
I feel like I wore the Kate Sith ears a lot in FFXIV, and like that's an S tier for me.
there you go.
Do it up, Sophie.
Yeah.
So how about Barrett?
I thought I had an immediate answer and then I didn't. Let me think about it.
I think he's an A for me.
I'm gonna
Mhm.
go with
Yeah,
A.
I would
I'm
say
gonna go with
an
A too.
Because I think he's so cool, but I also don't necessarily relate to a lot of the things that he went through in the first game. Like, I don't know. It was like I was a little bit detached from it, but at the same time I was like, yeah, you're super cool.
I feel like he's
Because
gonna
you
shine
have-
more in Rebirth.
Yeah,
you-
I think
Mhm.
so.
You didn't play the original, right? I just want to make sure.
Just the remake,
Okay,
just
okay.
the first remake.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
He's an S for me. I'm thinking really deeply on it. I really love Barrett. Yeah, he's an S. He's fantastic.
Heck yeah.
I keep trying to keep my ratings to what we haven't learned so far in Rebirth. If I include what I
It's
know from
hard.
overall, I would call him an S tier because I know where his story goes.
That's true.
Mhm.
But as he's currently presented for people who've just played remake, I would say A. But I really relate to Barrett because I'm a parent of a child around the age of Marlene, so it's got super emotional. Going through like what they're going through while also being responsible for a child. Ugh, the chills, the pain.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so S tier considering everything. Look at
Yeah, I'm
Anyway,
kind of the
I
same
wanna
as
talk
you.
about it.
I'm kind of the same as you though with like my love for Barrett, but like as the child, like that's like I view him as like the
Aw.
parental figure. So yeah, opposite.
Aw.
Yeah, Barrett is always a bright, shining light. It definitely was hard to get a handle on him at first, because when you first meet him, like he's trying to put Cloud in his place in remake. He's like, you're gonna do this job. We're gonna save the planet. We're gonna do everything's gonna be great. And then you're like later down the line, and then when they start loosening up and the whole character roster starts loosening up, Barrett is definitely something special.
Mhm.
S for special. All right, so since we're on the topic of something that's kind of close to seventh heaven, Tifa.
S.
S.
Yes.
S, triple S, quadruple
Yeah.
S, S.
Quadruple S.
I'm S. I'm a huge fan of Tifa as a character, especially because I don't know if it's worth mentioning, but like I didn't actually like her in remake, and I feel like I owe her for that.
Oh no.
What can you like without
Wait,
spoilers?
why?
Can you speak? Yeah, I was gonna say, can you speak on that without spoilers?
Without understanding her motivations, and like obviously not everyone's going to have the same experience with the game, but without understanding her motivations or her backstory, I absorbed a lot of Tifa's actions in remake as friend, like the girl from like the small neighborhood that thinks she's super hot because everybody has a crush on her. And because everybody does, but like she knows it, but like
Yeah.
she kind of acts like she doesn't.
Mm.
And that's just how I was reading her actions. That's not necessarily to say that's why. But that's why I was just kind of like, I don't know. I think I felt like that was the reason that she treated and talked to Cloud the way that she did. And I wasn't really for it at the time. Or it could have been jealousy. I don't know. She's super hot. So like,
She's hot.
Hard to say.
She's high. She's
I don't know how to get that
strong.
introspective right
What's not to love?
There's like something about Tifa's theme that I think my brain just goes blank when it comes on. I'm like, I love you. I don't know what you're saying, but I'm crying for some reason.
It's definitely, her theme is definitely, has, the older I get, has hit me harder than normal. Because at first it's always like another character's theme. Everyone should know which characters I'm talking about at this point. But when I went to see the Final Fantasy VII Orchestra, it wasn't that other character's main theme song. It was Tifa, where I was just like, like, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful song. And you can just hear how like soft and innocent it is, and how like it just resonates Tifa's personality the more you listen to it. And so, yeah, it's definitely a theme for the eye sockets of tears. But
A theme
since
for the eye sockets.
I don't know. Since they're definitely going to be in Rebirth, what about Biggs?
I would say A. I think.
I think I would say B, mainly just because I don't know much about
Yeah, maybe
him.
B. No, you're right.
But I love him.
I give him a
Yeah,
B.
he's really nice, but
But I want to know more.
It's really nice.
B plus.
Are we friend zoning him? Like,
What's he like? He's really nice. Oh,
He is. He's a nice guy.
he is.
Well, I guess it's a good thing he's in Rebirth. maybe he won't be so nice.
It's not that. Somebody also said he looks like Charlie Sheen.
oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And like,
have to
I
put
also
that
can't really
image in your
unsee
head.
that. I'm sorry if you hadn't heard that. I apologize. Are you looking it up, Kylie?
Oh my gosh.
No.
Yeah, I am. He's definitely. I'm very interested to see what is going on with Biggs. And maybe he's gonna be the villain because he's too nice. Hojo. In a perspective of the character, not your feelings towards Hojo.
Oh, what? We're just
Like,
taking
is it
things
nice?
back
The
now.
bottom. Z.
Yeah, Z.
F.
Z.
If
The bottom.
the
Not
idea was
even
to make a
close.
character where when you
Negative
look
Z.
at them, you feel an oily disgust. Then
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
because you only have to look at him to be like, gross, disgusting, bad feelings.
Yes.
You are a
There's
snake.
the human example of the word disgust. That's yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
They should put his face in the dictionary. Just disgust. Oh, okay. I see it.
Yeah, like Chad said, S tier hatred. Yes.
I had to specify that one because I knew everyone was gonna go like with new letters of the alphabet. but it's for a good thing. It's always good to have a great person like Hojo to make you put him in Z.
Yeah, he's
Right,
doing a
yeah.
good job at,
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
They've
He's
elicited
great
very
for
strong
that
emotions
letter,
from all of
yes.
us.
Ugh.
Okay.
Who else?
So, we kind of already talked about how we feel about Yuffie and Vincent, so I'm gonna leave them out of the tier list temporarily. What about Cloud?
Yes.
S.
S. S.
A.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think
Yeah.
A for me right now.
Ooh,
A.
tell us why. Tell us
Ooh.
why.
I
Smoky
can't.
Joe.
I can't
Alright.
because of I
You
can't
can't, that's
because of
fair.
what I know.
Mhm.
And there's a reason why I put Zach in S and Cloud in A. And I'm very confident in that. Yeah. I can't explain because spoilers. But if you know, you know.
Yeah. I'm
Fair.
interested to know Spofi, since she's only played the remake, why you put Cloud in A.
I think it just
Yeah.
takes me a while to open up to moody Final Fantasy Pro tags.
Fair.
Like, yeah, it's
Totally
just gonna take me the whole game, I think.
That's fair. That's fair.
get that.
No,
I'm
that's fair.
bi.
Sometimes.
I'm
He is pretty moody.
yeah, he's a little sassy.
Mhm.
I'm definitely biased. That man is like the toppest of the tier list for me. I am just biased as all get out.
I'm laughing at chat being like, A, for the mere sin of not being Zach.
Right.
God.
Right. Yeah, like this is like cheating, but I think of Zach as
That's
like
true.
S plus S tier, like, you know, like more than S, and then I think of Cloud as S, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah, I
cheating.
agree
I
with
don't
that.
know.
That's cheating. It's not cheating. It's good.
We just need a triple S category and then the S.
Yep.
Because I understand what you mean.
No,
Yeah.
I think with this entire round table, I think there's a Zach category and then there's everybody else.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
seems like. Except Spoofy's like, I don't know who that guy is.
Well, I'm so
Fair.
intrigued now, though, because like I obviously avoided spoilers, but just hearing the way that everybody talks about him, I'm like, who is this man? Why does he have a stranglehold on everybody?
Hope we're not overhyping him.
That's
true.
how
About
I
to,
know
like-
when people first
I
talked
mean-
about Graha Tia in 14. I was like, why do you guys
Oh,
care?
My king.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm still very new to like 7 as a whole in the universe. Like I only played Crisis Core when like the remake of it came out essentially. But yeah, he was not a character that I was expecting to love so much. Like I didn't think anything of him originally. But because again, going back to that game, and obviously like the original 7, like yeah, he was a very unexpected character that I fell in love with.
This isn't an if you know, you know situation, how it all leads back to Zach. Even when talking about
Yeah.
other things.
Mm.
But what about Aerith?
S.
S. We love Aerith.
I like Tifa more. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to keep going back to Crisis Core. S and Crisis Core. But like overall A. Okay. I need to stop talking about Crisis Core. But S and Crisis Core A overall. Just because I love Tifa so
agree.
much. So
I separate the Aerith from Crisis Core and Remake than the Aerith from the original. They feel like different characters to me, so it's a bit odd. As I know her now, as like the impression I know her now, I would give her an S tier. But also I like put her on the line between A and S, I would say. I think when you learn more about her, she's definitely an S tier. I know for some people she's an S tier regardless, so it just depends on you.
And Spoofy?
Yeah, I think both Tifa and Aerith, like having just played the remake, you're kind of left in a place where you're like, okay, like I have like an idea of what's going on now, but you can tell that there's so much more to it that it's almost hard to like pass any judgment on either of them, because there's like such this, I mean, obviously it's Cloud and his story and whatever, but like you can obviously tell that a huge part of it is about Tifa and Aerith's story, and I just don't know where that's gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like always interested to see like Spoofy's opinion because
Right?
she
Right.
only has remakes. So I'm just like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
For me, I did not like Aerith when I played the original that much. I was a Tifa girl. But when I played remake, I fell in love with Aerith absolutely. I think it's because like I understand the perspective of her and what her story is and how it's going, and where it could possibly lead in Rebirth. But there's something about Aerith to me that stood out to the point where she's just, without spoiling anything, she definitely crafts the characters you love the most to being the best versions of
Mhm.
themselves.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
I love characters when they do that, to be able for us to love the other characters. And so I didn't really get that when playing the original. So then I see that in her in remake. And so that's why I was like, I'm now an Aerith girly. I'm a everybody girly, but I now actually can't be like, oh, it's Aerith, whatever. But
Yeah.
it's just like, no, I think once you realize her whole story and her whole like purpose and everything, yeah, she definitely flew off the tier list for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing her in Rebirth because of that.
Yeah. I think.
I think it's so interesting. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that like we can have such complex feelings about these characters, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, when I played remake, I actually liked Aerith a lot more than I liked Tifa in terms of just general personality. But personally, like I don't feel any like kinship or like relatability. I don't feel like my personality is, and my motivations and thoughts are nowhere near Aerith's, and because of that, that just lowers her in my mind because I'm like, she's someone that I admire, but I don't feel I can like relate to. And even though like I liked Tifa less when I played Remake, I do relate to her a little bit more. So she was like a little bit higher on like the tier list in general. But it's so cool that Square can like make these characters for us that like we feel these complex emotions about across this whole franchise. So
I actually think it's funny you say that because I was literally about to say that I like Aerith because I relate to her. Like I find that she's kind of quiet and like maybe like a little socially awkward and takes like a lot for her to come out of her shell. She seems pretty comfortable with like Cloud though. But I feel like I definitely relate to Aerith a lot more than I do Tifa, so that's really funny.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I loved her a lot when she picked up the chair, and you know, that was a turning
So
point.
exciting. So I'm not sure if Spofi will be able to speak on this character, but I have to add them to the list because of my bias. But Sid? Hello? No, I'm just kidding.
Go quiet.
You're not gonna like my answer.
I'm trying to decide.
Joy is my best friend. I don't want her to disown me, but B.
Yeah. I
didn't like Sid when I was first introduced to him. It's been through more story and variety that I am interested to see how he will be portrayed in Rebirth, because when you meet him in OG, again, no spoilers, because there's no voice acting or anything like that, you kind of interpret. It's kind of like reading somebody's text when they don't have emojis or LOLs. Like, he was really grumpy. And I was just like, meh, you're so grumpy. And like, I think when he's voice acted, that could be like an endearing grumpy, but I was definitely reading it as like butthead grumpy by playing the game. So that's why he's B tier for me. I need to learn more about him. I know that he's one of Joy's favorite characters, and I respect that so much.
I understand he's not everyone's cup of tea, but yeah.
Yeah. Is B the lowest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Or
rank him.
Z for Hojo.
Oh, Z for Hojo, yeah. I would give Sid a B.
Be the Lord.
But I think I'm gonna like him in Rebirth. Like I definitely think he's gonna be more likable to me in Rebirth. But I'm the same way. I felt like in the original, I felt like he was just kind of mean. Like, or maybe not like to the party, but like to I forget her name. There was like a woman that he was very mean to. I did not like that. It just really rubbed me the wrong way. But I think he'll be better in Rebirth for me. So
Yeah.
I hope so. He's a B for me too, for that exact reason.
Yeah.
I didn't like how he treated, and that, like what Jahara said, you can't really understand the emotion behind the text as it wasn't voice acted.
Mhm.
So hopefully that changes in Rebirth. We'll be able to hear him, and maybe it'll be different.
I'm surprised Sarah gave him a B since he's in Kingdom Hearts.
Well,
yeah,
in
true.
Kingdom Hearts, he's an S. Like he's actually really Sid Highwind in Kingdom Hearts is like 10 out of 10, but he's nice.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you.
I know.
He is my favorite Sid. I will say that. He's my second favorite Sid.
Yeah.
Out of all the Sids, he's my second favorite Sid.
I love Final Fantasy 16 Sid so much.
Yeah. I like 14 Sid
Okay,
too.
third favorite Sid. I was thinking of 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like his cranky, angry old man vibes, and yeah, just this brashness. So he's an A for me. I'm excited for him. I like the mean characters.
Yeah. And then I think the last one for the character tier list, Sephiroth.
I mean, it's in his name.
An S, yeah. It is
Yeah.
S for Sephiroth.
S for Sephiroth. He invented the letter, as far as I'm concerned.
He's a great villain. He really is a great villain.
Yeah.
That's a sexy S villain.
I mean, I feel like the 60-inch bust down that he's got going already gives him an S. Besides character aside, just so much hair, so good.
It's very nice. Even in
It's very
like
lovely.
in the Rebirth demo, like you just see like every single strand of his
Yeah.
hair. I'm just like, ooh, it looks so soft. I want to touch it.
Do you
That's
take biotin
honestly-
supplements?
That's honestly my favorite part about Final Fantasy, especially like the graphics and the CGI. But I mean, in this, he looks beautiful. It's always the hair, how the hair looks in all the cutscenes. They have just like mastered hair. So yeah.
Spoofy, what about you?
With Sephiroth. Yeah, I mean, I don't have like character-wise, I feel like I don't have a ton other like because it was just kind of starting with the remake, but yeah, I mean, in the Rebirth demo and the trailer, he was looking pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm excited. We can do an S for looking forward to more Sephiroth. I
Has
guess.
anyone played Ever Crisis with his short hair? Have you
yeah,
seen
he
I
looks
know
so
what
cute.
I've seen a screenshot, but I've
Yeah.
never played it. I love short hair Sephiroth too. He can rock
Little
both.
baby.
Yeah.
He should just cut
Also-
it short. Maybe then
Then-
all of that trauma will go away. He'll be a little bit nicer.
I have to give a
His
shout out
hair.
to Scarlett because she's my wife, even if she's horrible.
Mm. Oh yeah, Scarlett's amazing.
Scarlet.
I love her so much. And I love her
Yeah.
theme
Oh,
too.
Scarlet.
We'll definitely come back to characters, but that was just a little fun thing because I will say Final Fantasy VII has by far some of the greatest cast members ever invented in gaming history, at least in my opinion. And so even if you dislike a character or like a character, they're just so well written, and so it's really hard to like really list them. But we, of course, everyone has their favorites.
Yeah.
On the topic of characters, we're going to be getting some summons happening in Rebirth. We were going to do a summon tier list, but there's so many, and then I don't know if we know every summon that's going to be in Rebirth at this time. So I will do a whole roundabout thing and just asking everyone like what summons they like the best in 7. So we're keeping it in 7, not like other Final Fantasies because they kind of overlap, but some don't. What's your favorite 7 summon? And what, if you haven't heard anything yet, who do you hope to be in Rebirth?
I am always a Shiva stan, so
Mm.
I agree with Spilf. I'm gonna have to go with Shiva on this one. I didn't actually engage with the summons as much in 7 as I did in some of the other titles, but knowing some of them that are there, I love Shiva. Wherever she appears, she is my queen. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Shiva being like my top summon. I'm excited to see her. We're gonna hug. She'll try and kill me, you know. Whichever.
Odin. Odin in every game.
Oh,
If
I
he's
love
there, I am
Odin.
excited. He is my king. I love him so much. So yeah. Odin.
I have a bone to pick
Kylie?
with Odin right now.
I'm still
Oh wait, I
thinking.
feel like
Me too.
wait. I need to know. Now I have to talk to you about 8 because I feel like I know.
I think Shiva for me too. And this is kind of silly, but I also like this is just 7. Actually, I don't know if this is in the original, but I think it's a Moogle summon. Or is it a Moogle or a Chocobo? I can't remember. There's like a really cute summon in 7 Remake that I was using.
There's a
I
chocobo.
know
Is it the big chocobo?
I think maybe
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
Like
I'm very
anything cute.
certain, yeah.
But I
Oh
also
yeah,
like
the
Shiva.
Chocomog thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that. Yeah, I like that.
Mog. Mm-hmm.
Bahamut Zero? Bahamut Zero?
Yeah.
Bahamut? I think he looks
Mm-hmm.
freaking cool.
Bahamut's always cool.
Yeah.
Bahamut is always cool. Baha, bro.
Bahamut.
Yeah. My favorite summon was in the original, but if it showed up in Rebirth, I would freak out because it was the most cinematic experience you can possibly imagine, and that was Knights of the Round Table.
Oh.
I don't know if I used
Yeah.
that.
Never had that
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it would be nice if they brought them in Rebirth, maybe.
Oh, that would be huge. That would be so cool to see, actually.
Yeah, it's just like so far we have seen so many different cool ones, and so definitely looking forward to seeing what you can find out in the world, the big world that is Rebirth. That is definitely coming out in a few days, and I'm getting nervous. I'm so excited.
So sad.
But for going back to characters, out of all the characters in the Final Fantasy VII universe, which character had the most impact on you and why? Without spoilers.
That's hard. That's a hard one.
It's hard without spoilers.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's that
Uh,
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly who it is and why, but there's just no way to explain it without spoilers.
Yeah.
Same.
So let me. I'm like maybe the
Can we
second
say
the
just
character that had the second.
and then just say like look forward to it in Rebirth? I don't know.
Although we
Yeah, I
don't know
mean,
what's gonna
if
happen in
it's
Rebirth.
yeah, we don't know.
Oh,
But
true.
yeah.
Without spoilers, I would say Red. I feel like I relate to his story on an emotional level. I feel very seen. He makes me feel very seen with his story. At least in the original. I don't know if it's gonna change or not. I hope it doesn't. But I feel like I relate to Red the most.
That's a good example of how to say things without spoiling.
That
Yeah.
was
Mhm.
that was
Well,
perfect.
I would say mine's automatically non-spoilers, so I can just get it out of the way. I think it would probably be Aerith for me, just because I don't usually like connect with characters that have like a higher purpose or just are like seem kind of angelic in a way, which I guess like is how she kind of came across to me in a lot of ways in remake. But like the game just does a really good job of like making you feel a lot of empathy towards her without even like saying things, you know?
Mhm.
I love
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Dang, this question got us all super introspective. We're just like
I know.
feels like a therapy
Yeah.
session in a way. Just like-
Trying to dig deep without spoilers.
Okay, I have two answers. One I can give you zero context on, and the other one I can give you a bit more context since I talked about it. First one, Zach, if you know, you know. Second one, Barrett. I would say Barrett, and again, for similar to the reason that I mentioned before, I relate a lot to characters. I feel like in a lot of these RPGs, especially like with how Square Enix has kind of made their parties, there's always like the like sort of teenaged or like young adult part of the party, and then there's like the adults in the party that have something a bit more at stake, usually like through like experience or like any sort of like parental or elder sort of feeling. And I feel like Barrett is that character, especially because he has Marlene. And because he has Marlene, I really felt in like what is at stake and how she comes into play in some of the scenes really gave me that extra layer of like worry for Barrett and like what was going on in the story. And not even like for his safety in general, but for like what happened to him, what could happen to him, therefore like what could happen to her, things like that. And from a parental perspective, I really relate to him. He's also the only Black character in the game, quite part out loud. Like, so he really mattered to me in that way. Yeah, I feel like
You
we're probably
did
getting really
it!
emotional.
That was good. Yeah, mine is Zach. But I also feel like every character has impacted me in some way, or most of them at least. We even were saying like Hojo impacts us negatively. So, yeah, I guess like I'll just say Zach, but I won't elaborate. Just really love him.
We should all just do this
Makes
again
you
when we've
feel
all
loved.
played.
Yeah.
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 Let's all do this again when
Yeah.
everyone's
I've been a
played,
super
when the game is
spoiler
out,
alert.
because we really want to talk about him. It's very
We do. We
clear,
really want to.
Yeah.
Me too.
but we can't right now, so just understand.
Yeah.
And Midna, did you?
I mean, I'm in the same boat. It's Zach, but then also Cloud, but it's relating to Zach, and I don't want to go on about it. That's it. Just Zach. Everything's Zach.
Yep.
Yeah.
For me, it would be Tifa. Um, it's Tifa for me because she has her internal struggle of should I do something or should I not do something? And or I want to do good at something, but then I don't want the repercussions of things that could possibly happen. Which is in the remake in this sense. So it's Spo, you should understand what I'm talking about, where it's like she was always just like, I really gotta do this, but I really don't want to. Um but yeah, there's just like I've always related to Tifa because I feel like we're in the similar vein. Like when you understand her path in original, it's just like, oh, I am that kind of girl that she is, where it's just like everyone everyone puts her up here, but then she puts herself down here. So it's like that kind of impact where it's like everyone's always like, oh, this is like Tifa's the best. Tifa, not saying people say it's about me, but it's like a relatable thing in some instances.
I said that about you.
But it's just like that thing where like I think everybody, especially as content creators, have had that situation where people have always put us higher in some certain aspects, but then you always put yourself lower. So she represents to me the imposter syndrome or the insecurity of the thing when in all reality she is the baddest of the baddie, just like everyone here in this round table. So it's just like that's why that's why she impacts me the most, because I see myself in her because I do what Tifa does all the time.
That's relatable as heck.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
relate.
Yeah.
I knew that, I'm
All
like,
of us sitting here
"Dude,
being
that
like,
must be my answer." I was gonna
But we have about like I think the last topic, which is the big one, will take us the rest of our time here. But we can go off and talk off of each other. But why is now the best time to get into Final Fantasy?
so many
a big question.
reasons.
Yeah, there's
There's
so
a lot.
many
Like
reasons.
Final Fantasy as a whole?
We'll
Fantasy
stick to Fantasy 7.
Okay, 7. Okay. Mm.
I have an answer I can put forth in my opinion. So I think it kind of relates to a lot of what we were saying before, where a lot of us originally we hear from our communities that are really Final Fantasy focused that 7 is a really iconic game, especially those of us that started with 14, right? And but we are used to like a higher level of graphic, and like some people might look down on that, but I feel like it's a pretty universal experience for a lot of people who have started gaming more recently or are just used to playing games that are a bit newer in general. And so like I can understand the deterrent. But like I played Remake first because it felt more relatable to me visually, but playing Remake and when I went to play it, I said, I don't plan on playing the original. Like I was pretty vehement about that. I was like, I think this will do what I need. Like I'm gonna learn this story. It's gonna be good. But I finished Remake and I was like, just kidding. I'm playing original immediately. Like I needed it. Really like encourages you to go back and see how the original story is told because they are different. They are. And it's a completely different experience to play both. And I feel like now that the Rebirth is there, you I don't think there's anything wrong with just playing Remake and Rebirth, but I think if you were to play both, that you would feel encouraged to play the original. Even if you didn't, like there's going to be a third installment and then you'll have the whole story. And it's iconic for a reason. Like we can all be hipsters about it and be like, but is it really that good? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Like, there's a reason so many people love the series is beloved. Before I knew anything about Final Fantasy, I knew the names Cloud, Aerith, and Tifa.
Yep.
I knew those character names before knowing
Yeah.
anything about 7 because they're just so iconic in that way.
Mhm.
So now with this available to everybody, I think it's just such a good time. I mean, there's Rebirth, there's Remake, there's Crisis Core Reunion, there's Ever Crisis. Like, if you don't want to play the original at this point, you really don't have to still get the full story through a modern lens, which is really cool.
It's so interesting too off that, Jahar, because I feel like playing the remake almost like creates nostalgia for you to go back and play the original because you have that basis for connection to the characters and like that's sometimes what's hard going back to older games, is like just getting past that initial, like, I don't know who any of these people are, like, you know. I will say for me too, kind of like Midna, I was a Nintendo girly like growing up. I never played like, I didn't have a PlayStation, so I wasn't able to play PlayStation games. And so there are some challenges for me when it comes to like even just like PlayStation controllers and getting used to them as an adult. And I still remember when I sat down to play the FF7 remake demo for the first time, I was just amazed by how quickly everything clicked. Like they just, I don't know how or why, but they did a really good job of making it really comfortable, even if you're not like super familiar with like controller setups and stuff.
I also feel like going back to what Jahara was saying is there's so many games out. Like we have Crisis Core that was remastered. I believe that game was on the PSP. Not everybody had a PSP back then. So you can dive into the lore of that game. You have obviously you have Remake, Rebirth is coming out. So you're able to play the same story. You'll be able to play the story now, where back then it was probably a lot harder to get to. So I feel like now that they've been able to modernize, I guess, some of the games to be able to envelop your just, I guess, enrich your experience in the game. I feel like that's like a really good reason why you can now that you can jump into that. um it makes it a good reason to jump in now, because they have that, or they don't have that in the back then. Also, they're releasing Advent Children in the movie theaters, which I want to go watch that. I didn't know that. I never knew about the movie until recently, and I feel like that's cool that they're putting more like marketing behind it, so that we can have a better experience when we play Rebirth. So that's cool. I don't know when Advent Children was in theaters, if it ever was. Did y'all ever see it back in the day?
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it
I
recently.
was-
I've
Seen it
seen
all.
it 3 times.
I saw it the day it launched in the theater.
I actually saw it before I even played anything Final Fantasy VII, because my friend had me watch it with her when we were in like middle school, but I had like no context.
I think a good reason to even play the remake series is, I mean, I ask myself the question, or you could ask yourself the question of like why this Final Fantasy is getting the remake, because I know there's a lot of debate and discussion on like which other Final Fantasies get the remake treatment, but like there's a reason why 7 was chosen for it. There's a reason why they're fleshing out the story. And I think that in itself is a good enough reason to see what the story is about and understand why it's so iconic and has so many iconic characters. Like I think out of all of the Final Fantasy titles, 7 is going to be the most well known. So like Jahara said, like before she even dove into 7 or really any Final Fantasy, she knew the characters of like Cloud, Tifa, Aerith. Like they are very well known, and there is a reason for that. So yeah, and I mean the game plays phenomenally. It has such a good combat system. I think it's very nice that they have the like ATB gauge system, because not a lot of people like the turn-based combat, but they do sprinkle that in there as like a nod to the original. And then you have the real-time action combat, which is super cool, and it's just so smooth. It's so beautiful. It's just, yeah, it's a game that you should just play, not anything related to 7. It's just a fantastic game. So
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like add on, because I agree with all of what has been said, and I was going to say a lot of similar stuff. I think that remake and what I've played of Rebirth so far does a really good job at, while adding a lot of new things and maybe changing some things, I think it just does such a good job at like capturing the essence of the original 7. Like the way I could describe it is like when you play an older game when you're a kid, and you kind of almost like have to use your imagination a little bit, because, the graphics weren't as good back then, and you'll remember it to look a lot better than it did. I feel like what they did with like Remake and Rebirth is it looks how like I would have imagined it to look if I played it when I was a kid, like when it first came out. I mean, I was like too young to play it, I guess, but and because like I guess like a good example would be like when I played like Crash Bandicoot as a kid, like the remake looks like how I imagined it when I was a kid. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I mean,
No, no, it totally does.
Yes.
For me, like a weird like metaphor for that is like if you like watch like anime in Japanese
Mhm.
and like with subtitles, but then you like remember it, you in your head they're like speaking in English because that's how you're gonna remember the words. So it's
Yes.
almost like how like whatever like in imagination you're like injecting into the game as you play it with the older graphics, like they've somehow I feel like they like went into like my actual head and be like and pulled it out because I'm like, yeah, that's how it looked to me. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really cool. They did a great job.
They did such a good
honestly.
job.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess to add on to all of this, it's the whole aspect of combining people that have never even touched a Final Fantasy and combining people that have played the original the day it came out or those that have just seen stuff on the outside. Everybody is waiting and anticipating this installment and the next installment after that without understanding what's going to happen. So it's always hard to jump into a fandom or like anything that's very, very popular when you don't know where to start. And it seems intimidating in that sense. But at this point, the topic of discussions, where it be newcomers or old comers, I think the Final Fantasy community as a whole is just, we don't know what's going to happen. And it'd be good for anyone looking into getting into Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy in general right now. Like, if you are very interested into the JRPG world, this is now your time to be able to jump in conversations in social media or meet friends that are probably playing the game at the same time. And it's just, it's weird. Like, this is at the end of the day, this is just a video game, but with the lead up to Rebirth and this game coming out, it doesn't feel like it's just a video game. Like,
Right.
it feels like it's like this movement where everyone's like anticipating. It's like, I can't believe this is finally happening. Like, it was a little bit like that with when the first installment remake came out, because it was announced in like 2015 or even before that, and then it took years for it to finally arrive. But seeing like everybody just so excited, and like Final Fantasy seems like the Final Fantasy 7 specifically seems like the only Final Fantasy that can jump out of the people that have no, like, that don't play JRPGs, and it's such a well-known thing. So it's such a good time to jump in and not feel like you like, oh, I don't know anything, because you don't have to know anything to play Rebirth in a few days. You can just go in and play Rebirth, because if you just played Remake, that is a game in its whole. It has a beginning, middle, and end, and it's just like, it may get you to go somewhere else. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I was like, I thought it was just me, and then everyone's like, yeah, it doesn't feel like just a video game. So I was like, yeah. I was like, no, I feel like I'm like prepping to like go on like this massive trip. I'm like,
Yep.
do I got snacks? Do I have this? Like, what can I do?
It's life.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 is life.
it really
You have a
is.
good point. You have a good point, because it's like when you jump onto something when like there's this huge buzz of popularity around it as well. Like obviously you can like start a new book or start a new game whenever you want, but it is fun to do it when there's a bunch of people around that you want, that are like really willing to talk about it with you and also
Yeah.
like really excited. So like you can join in, and then like everywhere you like, everyone's gonna be like, you're playing too, I'm playing, let's talk about it. Like it's like you get to like join the book club when everyone like when it like revamped itself. All of us are really excited. So join in on the excitement, and you can pretty much start anywhere you want to at this point. I feel like they've done a really good job of making them really seamless. You can start from original, you can start from Rebirth or Remake. I feel like we've all kind of conceded that like some of us played original first, some of us played Remake first or Remake only, and we still all really enjoy what we've played so far.
Yeah.
So just jump on it. I don't think you'll have a bad experience no matter which way you choose to do it.
Yeah. It's like the most accessible it's ever been.
They have I didn't jump into the demo, but I'm pretty sure they have like a recap, right, in Rebirth for people that may want to understand Remake.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah,
I
maybe
didn't
if I'm
click
wrong.
on it, but Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
voiced by Red 13's voice actor,
Ah.
and he takes you through. It's a really, really well done. I definitely watched it because I'm doing my remake replay just to like get refreshed before Rebirth, and so I was like, let's see what they say. But I know that's also available on YouTube because they released it a while ago. It's called The Story So Far. So if
Oh, okay.
anyone is
Wow.
definitely interested and didn't have time to get to play the remake, but you really want to play Rebirth, like The Story So Far is really, really well done, and you can get the idea of what remake is about.
Good to know. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch it too.
Yeah,
I
I
have a
can't.
really
I might
hard
watch it
time
myself just for a
remembering.
refresher.
Yeah, I've been trying to
Yeah.
finish hard mode, and I don't know if I'll be able to in time. So
Hard mode is
Hard
fun.
mode.
it is
I
fun.
I think like it's I always play games on the hardest difficulty, and then hard mode wasn't unlocked until after you beat
Oh
it.
yeah.
But it's done in such a nice, unique way,
Mhm.
where it's not just like the enemies have so much health. It's like you can't
Yes.
heal.
Right.
It's like the only way you can heal is if you find a bench. And it's just like it makes you think more strategically, like how original did and any turn-based game did, where it's like you need to make sure you're well prepared for this moment. And it's like, yeah, it's an action game, but you still had like those tactics of playing a turn-based game. So I really enjoyed it. And then they also definitely like added new things to certain bosses, like a certain house.
A certain house.
Nothing suspicious about the
Yes.
house.
It
No.
reminds me of a lot of what Sophie said, that like even if you're not particularly like, because when I played Remake, I actually had never really played action based games. I know it's not fully action, but like I was like coming from like not like combat based games at all. So I was really intimidated by that. But it's pretty easy to pick up. Like, and there are various levels, like you can get to hard mode, but even like think back on my playthrough and I did struggle a bit because I wasn't used to like utilizing different like techniques and things like that. But like the game does teach you how to play it and like how to fight, and like you'll get your way through. It's not unfair in any way, shape, or form. And I think the combat was really well done. It was really engaging and accessible. So
Yeah.
I'm
I
excited
think
to
they
see it
did
again
it
in Rebirth.
in a really elegant way where it like kind of like slows down and lets you make some decisions. Cause I was stressed about that too. I was like, oh gosh, it's gonna be a lot all at once.
Yeah, the nice thing about the
Mm-hmm.
ATV gauge system is because it slows everything down, you can kind of have that quick breather and like
Mhm.
almost recollect and be like, okay, what do I do
Mm-hmm.
from here? Like, or
Yeah.
you don't even need to use a skill. You just essentially use it as like kind of a pause and then you go back into combat. So yeah, it's really awesome.
I always like entering into slow mo, but then also seeing my character about to get sliced. I'm just like,
All the time.
Let me just delay this. I've caught my characters doing some wacky poses, like, you know, mid animation. I'm just like, huh, okay, so that's how they did it.
I had a really funny moment where I was like summoning Shiva in the original game and I paused to like choose a skill and it was just like her boobs on the whole screen. And I was like, that was not on purpose. I promise.
oh man, now I'm just thinking about just playing the game, just experiencing it, and just
know.
like
Are
everything
you
that
all
happened.
are you all playing day
Yeah.
one? Like release, like jumping right in?
Yep,
Are we
whenever.
waiting at all? Okay.
Absolutely not. I
it'd be
can't
hard
wait.
to
I've
wait.
already, I've already suffered so long waiting. I have to get into that as much as possible. But
Yeah.
I am going to take my time. I'm not. I
Yeah.
usually go overboard when it comes to games I'm really excited for. So I am going to just like take it one day at a time and
Mhm.
just be like, all
Same.
right,
I
don't no 5,000 hour streams for me. No.
I'm so curious how, because I've tried to avoid as much as I could, but I really want to see what the different cities / towns look like, because I haven't seen that yet. I want to like really look around when the game comes out at the new, just because I remember how they were in the original and they're just pixelated. So now like being able to see like the graphics, how updated they are, I'm like, ooh, what does Nibelheim look like now? I'm curious.
I know, I agree with
I
you.
want to
I'm
take my
honestly a
time.
little I'm honestly a little intimidated by it, Kylie, because I feel like the time that we're gonna like want to spend fully exploring each area when the game was already so large. I'm just like, I'm gonna be playing this game for the rest of the year. Lord help me. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot.
Yeah.
It's gigantic. Yeah.
Yeah, without like I'm not gonna say like anything in detail, but they did just showcase like a lot of amazing things that you'll be able to do in Rebirth. And I know both Sarah and I are trying to like erase it from our memories because of all the stuff that they showed.
Yeah.
But literally playing this game until like 2026 at this point because it's so massive and I want to like go through every little corner. I want to like make sure I don't miss anything or any cues because there's like people like looking at in the demo looking at posters in the background that are like hints or not hints but like reminiscence of like the original and stuff
Easter
like
eggs?
that. Yeah, that's the right word. Yeah.
I love that. Oh, I hope I find one.
I didn't know, but I was watching someone else play, and I didn't know that in Seventh Heaven, in the back at the top, there's a picture, or like I think it's in the back. There's a picture of the original Seventh Heaven, like just hung up on the wall. I didn't know that,
Oh,
and so I was
didn't
like,
know that either.
I didn't notice that
Yeah.
either.
No, y'all don't be
I wanna
missing
go see it.
nothing, Final Fantasy VII fans.
and so now I'm like, now I'm gonna be looking at pictures. I'm gonna be looking at grass. Like, does this grass have a picture? Is there a piece of Sephiroth's hair in this grass? Was he here? Like, there's just so much in the game, and I cannot wait.
I'm looking forward to the mini games. I hope they're easier than the original was. Gosh dang, some of them.
I
Oh,
love
those are
the original
That
one.
They're so
Oh my
hard.
god.
marching band one. Oh,
The
that
mini
was
games
so
are so
difficult.
fun.
So fun. I'm excited.
The pull-ups.
Oh yeah.
Squats and
The
pull-ups.
squats and stuff.
Mm,
Oh my
mhm.
gosh. Squats.
It looks like there's gonna be a lot of mini games in Rebirth.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
lot.
Yay.
Like the gold saucer aside, like that's one thing, but there's also so many outside as
Yes.
well. So yeah.
Which is crazy because there are some video games that are essentially just like a big bucket of mini games. So I was like, I feel like that in and of itself is like a whole separate game where you
Yeah.
can just play
Yeah.
a bunch of mini games. And they do mention that like what I'm excited for is that like the story progress doesn't really affect a lot of the mini games. Some of them it does, but
Mhm.
like there's so many that you can just go back to over and over and over again. And like I think that's really nice. I think that increases the replayability of the game as well. So that and like the gold saucer. There's so many things. This game is going to be absolutely massive. I start to like sweat when I think about it a little bit. I'm just like, it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, it's so like I'm telling you, it's that lifestyle. You have your like packing lists of like what you need for Rebirth. Like it's just a game, Joy, but no, it's not. Like I gotta make sure. What if I need tissues? I don't know. We don't know yet. We
It's
don't
an
know anything.
experience. It's not just
Yeah.
a game. It's a full experience. Yeah.
Mhm.
A couple people in my
Speaking
chat
about-
said they want to see Gongaga.
Yeah.
Mm. We're like, not saying anything.
Yeah.
I just want to say the meme.
Me?
Me?
Gongaga.
Gongaga.
Me,
I can't help myself.
Oh man,
What
there's
about
just
the
Wow.
music?
uh,
I've heard there's a
400
lot-
tracks.
It's so many.
I was
400?
confused. I was like, well, I thought my chat said 40, and it was 400, and I was like, interesting.
400?
Yeah.
400
That's
tracks
a
they
lot.
made
That's
for
a lot.
Rebirth.
Yeah. Holy crap.
I just got the vinyl. I was like, this does not say 400 tracks. Where are my 400 tracks? The music of 7 is already fantastic, but they're like, this isn't like spoilers because I feel like music is I kind of a free range of not being okay to talk about. But they basically said that they took the songs from the original and they saw the scene that these songs are being played or what's happening in scenes, and then they did a whole rendition of them to fit the specific scene's emotions.
Oh.
So you will have Cosmo Canyon, but then maybe somewhere like Red's probably doing something else somewhere else, and then you may also be hearing Cosmo Canyon stuff in a different way.
Ah.
Mhm.
Wow.
That's really cool.
400 songs! I'm so excited.
Mm.
But yeah, that is it for this roundtable. Again, thank you so much, Square Enix, for sponsoring this roundtable. And it was such an amazing time to talk with you ladies today. I cannot wait to talk to you guys again once we beat it and have a spoiler chat.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
I don't know how to say goodbye now.
I know, right? Bye. Thank you. I had so much fun.
Bye.